Hello rimfire friends, hope everybody's doing well. So this is going to be my kind of unboxing video of this Arken SH4 Gen 2 for my Brno project. This has been in the works for a little bit of time, and my fellow shooters that I shoot with at the range, I've talked about this often, but there was a little bit of delay in it arriving, and that was why I've been running the Bushnell budget AR scope waiting for this guy to come here. Now, this scope and the AR have something in common that I'm going to talk about in a second, but I'm just going to dive right into it. Get it open. Now, I'm not planning to do a full-on review on this scope. There's so many better channels online that do that sort of thing, but just wanted to kind of show you why I chose this scope. So you're seeing it as I'm seeing the actual unboxing. It's actually a pretty nice box. For me, the award for the nicest box ever was Right On Scopes. Holy cow, that thing's beautiful. All right, some pretty nice packaging here, as you'd expect. All right, so in the box we get, I don't know what this is. Oh, a nice decal sticker, decal. And then that's probably, oh yeah, your little tools and handy stuff that you need. And oh yeah, little lens cleaning cloth, all that fun stuff. Manual, that sort of thing. Oh, it looks like another sticker, decal. And then a nice battery for your illuminated reticle. That's what you get in the box. Cool stuff. I'll get this packaging off and we'll have a look here. Foam, lots of foam on it actually. I like that. And then there's, oh, it comes with a sunshade. See, like I didn't know any of this. I didn't do any research on that sort of thing, but that's pretty cool. Nice threaded sunshade. That's pretty rad. All right, so like initial impressions is the scope looks flawless, which you'd expect from something new, right? I don't know what this thing is here, but all right, so they're saying maximum torque 18 inch-pounds, which is nice because the rings, I think, say 21. The rings that I got for it, and I'll have to talk about those as well too. But all right, so it's got these cool bikini silicone kind of rubber covers on them. I really like these, so I'm happy to see these. Some are better than others, but these seem pretty good. But this is the scope here. Super nice. You guys have seen a million reviews on this, so you guys know all how it is. This one's no different. Yeah, super nice. Yeah. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about specifically was why I chose this scope was to do with the Brno 452, CZ452, or 455 exclusively. Not exclusively, but in my case. So if you own a Brno like I do, or a 452 or 455, you'll know that these guns have some pretty cool, not cool, 90-degree bolt lifts, okay? And as a result, you can get a lot of interference with the scope that you choose. So a lot of people might have thought that I chose this Bushnell AR as kind of a budget-friendly option, but I didn't really at all. I chose it for two reasons. Repeatability and reliability. These ARs, if you've had one, are flawless. They run up and down dialing like crazy. So I knew it was going to be a reliable scope for the kind of shooting that I do. And secondly, I needed a very narrow eyepiece here to be able to clear the bolt handle. And the Bushnell ARs are pretty reasonable because they're only 40 millimeter, but even with their kind of fold down throw lever here, I can only keep the scope on 16 power, because if I put it on 18 maximum, it interferes with the bolt handle, and even without my little rubber knob there. So one of the reasons I did choose this was because it had such a narrow eyepiece here. And the trend has been the last few years manufacturers are putting these gigantor eyepieces on the back, and I'll name like Vortex is one of them. Like you Google some of their scopes and look at the specs on them, and they're up near 2 inches, some of these guys wide. And it's fine if your scope is like, if it's like a Tika, for example, rather, or a CZ457 with a 60-degree throw, you don't have this problem. But if you're like, even if you're I don't know offhand Bergara, but they're like a 90-degree bolt throw as well, you're forced to put your scope very high. And in the old stock setup I had on the Brno, or if you run like a CZ457 in a factory stock, you have to have your rings so high in order to give yourself more clearance if you have a large rear eyepiece on your scope. And so for me, that was like not something I wanted to do because I didn't have the cheek height, the comb riser on it yet. But with this custom stock, I have one, so I would have had the options now. I made it into it. But anyway, one of the reasons I chose the Arkin, and it'll surprise a lot of people, because this Bushnell is a 1-inch tube, 4.5 by 18 by 40 millimeter 1-inch tube. And the Arkin is 6x24 by, I don't even remember what it is, but 50? Yeah, let's go with 50. But it's 34 millimeter tube. So like totally night and day difference compared to with a 1-inch tube. But the cool thing about it is look at the size of the eyepieces. I don't know if I'm framed there. Let me get a little bit more frame. You can see they're the same size. The Arkin is actually slightly smaller, and so I have even more clearance. And so that was the main reason I chose this scope and wanted to go with the scope over like a Ride-On, because a Ride-On that Luke runs on his has been a great scope, super reliable. But it's actually bigger than this. It's I think it's 1.75 inches, I want to say, or 1.7 or something like that. So it's bigger than this, and I will get interference. So with this scope, I was able to get all the benefits that everybody knows about with this kind of best bang for your buck scope on the market. Great reliability, great repeatability, decent glass, but also more clearance for this particular 90-degree bolt throw. So anyway, so I'm going to get this puppy all mounted up, and I'll pause this one here and get it all mounted up and check in with you guys, and we'll have a look at it. All right, Rimfire friends, I got it all mounted up off camera, and just want to quickly go over it. I still have to level the reticle. I do the plumb bob method, so that's something I'm going to do when it gets a little bit darker. It's still a little bit of light out, but that's what I'm going to be doing later on. So it's just kind of a little bit more than finger tight, just to kind of show you guys what it looks like. I have ample room underneath, so I'm running a set of worn Perma-Attach top mount rings. They're medium height, and I'm running a CZ527 centerfire base because it slides over the old school Brno dovetails. It's 0 MOA. Eventually, I'm going to be running some Burris XTR signature rings and 34 millimeter for the MOA, but right now the scope has enough internal adjustment to shoot in the off season here, probably up to 300 yards maybe. It's definitely more than 200 that my local range is at. So, but that's what I'll be adding in the future. So for now, these will work. And I originally got them because they're pretty much the slimmest side profile on the market. And again, I was a little bit concerned with bolt handle travel. So that's why I chose them, just to make sure I could get the scope mounted, because I've actually never mounted such a large diameter tube on a Brno before, so it was a little bit unknown to me. But it totally, doesn't interfere with the bolt handle. The base is so far forward that it wouldn't make a difference anyway. But again, I wasn't sure, so it fits very well. I have about, I would say, maybe 3/8 of an inch underneath the front, so that's good. I can run the scope caps on it or whatever I want. And I actually have more clearance than I did with that little 40 millimeter Bushnell AR that I mentioned to you guys. Absolute ample clearance, which is really important. So absolutely no issues cycling the bolt. Everything works as it should. Definitely added to the weight, because it's literally more than double the weight of the Bushnell AR, which is over here. And it's quite a difference in size overall. The scope is pretty impressive just looking through it so far, and I've actually played around with a little one with one before a little bit, because one of the guys I shoot with has one, so I've monkeyed around with it, and this scope speaks for itself. It's a great scope. But anyway, it looks great on there, and I'm really happy with the clearance, and I can definitely see how this is going to be an advantage. Love the reticle on it. I went with MOA because I'm an MOA guy, and So that's kind of cool. But other than that, yeah, just got to level it up and adjust it, and then I'll head off to the range sometime this week and zero it in. But anyway, that's kind of a sneak peek of what it looks like. And it changes the balance on the stock, so I'm going to have to play around with some weighting a little bit just to get the balance where I want it. But anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. Any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll do my best, as always, to answer them. But if not, I'll catch you at the next one.